So from either one of those positions, well, let's start from this, just the head and arm, because like I said, this is much easier to go to. And one thing you probably saw, like it's a lot harder to just climb on somebody's back when they're really resisting, right? So that's probably the best case scenario is you just kind of scoot right behind them, but a lot of times it's going to be tough. And a lot of times, take your right hand, start to push my elbow off. As he starts to do this, you lose control of his head, and if you don't react, you're going to lose control of his arm. So what I want you guys to focus on now is just isolating the arm that you have isolated already. You're going to make it even tighter, okay? So you can do it like, first thing I want to do when I want to go over this arm is I want to bring this arm in as deep as I can and try to point my elbow to the ceiling, right? And my head and shoulder are pinching his arm. And the key to controlling this position is to get your head and his wrist as far away from his head as possible. So if I do this, bring your head right over my head, he can easily just kind of like yank his arm out of there. You know? He can easily yank it out. Right? If I get my elbow up high and my wrist in front of his head, and I start to scoot and pull my head away, try to pull your arm out. You can't get his arm out, drive your head into me, and my wrist, I can keep his head off. Right? So his arm is completely like isolated and in trouble now. Right? And then I want to do the same basic thing. I'm going to bring my feet down, stretch him out. Now I want to climb my legs up his body and continue to move my head away. Right? So I'm going to put my left foot on his hip or his thigh here, pulling my head back. I bring my other leg up high on his back. Right? Try to use your knee on top of his shoulder. That's like the ideal position is your knee on his shoulder, even if you can put your foot on his other shoulder. Right? And my grip is going to go from deep on his shoulder, now it's going to slide to his elbow. Okay? I want to be the crook of my elbow on the joint of his elbow. My hands are still locked, then I'm going to switch to a elbow grip. So I catch my own elbow. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot my hips away. I'm going to bring my head up. I'm going to try to lift my hips up off the mat as I scoot my butt away and pull down with my elbow. I'm going to pull his elbow into my chest here. And the key to making this work is not, you're going to feel the urge to do this. You're going to try to like pull your head away and squeeze, and you're going to lose the arm. What you have to do is kind of, you bring your head closer to his head and your butt further away. And that's going to give you a ton of space to pull his elbow into and make it a much tighter arm bar. Right? But if you look at where I started to where I am, you see how far away our heads and his hand are? His hand started right here. And once it's out here, his arm is like completely screwed. Right? So I want you guys to work to get to this position with tight control. Push up on your hand. Okay. Have the person on top keep like tight body position. And because your hand's occupied, you're just going to say tap when you feel the arm bar. You can't tap with your hands, so just say tap. Right? From here, I got pressure down. I'm going to scoop my hips away, bring my head close. I'm going to pull his elbow towards my chest and lift my head up. Tap. Finish. Yeah. So what a lot of you guys were doing, you were getting to this position and you're turning this way, which brings our heads right in line. And like I have no control of his arm, he can easily slip it out. Especially if there's no gi on, he's going to slip out real easy. So whenever you get under the arm, immediately throw your elbow towards the ceiling. Lock your hands in front of his head. He's most likely going to try to drive his head into you. And use that to get your legs in position and stretch his arm away from his head. Once you get to this position, I'm going to slide. My elbow, the crook of my elbow comes to his elbow joint. I go from wrist to wrist to elbow to elbow. My legs come up high. I push my butt away. My head comes close. And I'm pulling my elbows down into my chest. A lot of you guys might have trouble with this arm bar at first. It kind of takes a weird feel to get it. But we'll go over other stuff you can do. Because this, once you get his arm extended, you have a lot of other attacks. Right? So again, we'll start head and arm. First step is like you kind of like throw an uppercut. Elbow pointed towards the ceiling and your hand comes in front. And a lot of times as you do this, duck your head up. He'll duck his head out to try to escape. Right? And then from here, if you can, break them down. Climb your legs up high. Try to aim your knee for his shoulder. Right? Lock up on the elbow. Push your butt away a little bit. And then pull down with your elbows. And pinch with your knees. All right? 1, 2, 3.